So this video is going to be an interesting one for me because it's one that I originally recorded before my PC crashed, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't put up that version because, well, the conversation continued. This is about a topic that came up on the ACA show The Nonprofits, where they were talking about hypocrisy, specifically religious hypocrisy. And the question of, is hypocrisy always a bad thing, came up. And Jeff D took the stance that, no, it isn't, because it's better that the people who are professing these things not follow through with them. And this is particularly of interest to me specifically because I've been watching this true Christian slap fight going on between liberal Christians and conservative Christians over what true Christian values really are and whatnot. And it can be kind of annoying at points to watch these so-called liberal Christians go around ignoring parts of the Bible that are inconvenient, or just telling everyone else that they don't truly understand them, because that's exactly what the conservative Christians do. It's one of the big annoyances I have about this whole topic, the fact that both sides can support their own arguments and then claim that the other side just doesn't understand the Bible properly. And the second time the nonprofits brought this up, it made me think that maybe I should talk about the not following the Bible in the first place thing. Because, yes, it would probably be better all around if people weren't preaching the virtues of a book that has child sacrifice, human sacrifice, violence and brutality towards your fellow human, etc., etc. But I'm also a fan of the notion of not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. So, ignoring the fact that there is a more ideal state, I still think it's better that we have these liberal Christians out there than people who are actually demanding that gays and children and women be stoned for being gays and children and women, essentially. And while I do think it would be better if the conservatives weren't preaching this sort of hate vibe, a lot of them really don't necessarily follow through with it. And in fact, all it really seems to take to get a lot of these so-called conservative Christians to change their mind is to actually be put in a situation where abortion becomes an issue, or where they have to consider the well-being of their own children, or where somebody in their family comes out as gay, etc., etc., etc. But the point is that all of these things are still better than the idea of actually following through with the ideas of an angry desert genie from a Bronze Age society that demanded sacrifices and commanded violence against your fellow human being. But basically what it comes down to for me is that if people are going to continue to build their morality based off of this system, I would much rather they cherry pick the parts that preach peace and love than the parts that preach hate and violence and anger. And I can still acknowledge that it would be a better system if people weren't building their moral foundation off of that, while still being thankful that there are a lot of people out there who don't decide to take the worst parts and make that into their doctrine. I guess what you could say is, thank God for hypocrisy. Yeah, I'm not going to apologize for that joke. Thanks for listening. Amaranth, out.